Hey guys, what's up? It's Jason Wojo with a very special video for you today. We're going to talk about hamstring training. In particular, we're going to talk about what I believe to be the best hamstring exercise out there, bar none. If you really start using this and incorporate it into your workout, I don't think there's anything else out there that's going to increase your hamstring development the same. So what we're on right now is a seated calf machine. And I know right now you're thinking, okay, has he lost his mind or what? What does seated calf have to do with hamstrings? I'm going to show you. So, first things first, you want to load this thing with probably somewhere in the vicinity of 2 plates, and you'll see why in a second. We have our pad all the way lowered, similar with our seated pad. Now, a normal seated calf raise, of course, we're putting our knees under here like this, right? What we're going to do is face the other way, anchor our ankles under the knee pad, and we're going to lower our body and hit our hamstrings in the process. Some of you have probably seen the glute ham raise before. It's similar. That's a very specific piece of equipment that not a lot of gyms have. Plus, I think it hits your glutes a little more than this, so it's not as specific, it's not as effective. So, what we're doing here is basically lowering our body forward, tensing our hamstrings and resisting with our hamstrings and pulling ourselves back up. This is a very difficult exercise to learn, but once you learn it, and once I'm going to show you the progression to learn it most effectively, it really is going to add tons and tons of density to your hamstrings. So what it's going to look like is, first, with this exercise, always warm up. I wouldn't do a whole lot of hamstring exercises first because it does take a lot of strength to do this, so you don't want to tire yourself out, but you want to be warm. So if you're warming up with this exercise, what you're going to do is you're not going to do a strict movement, but what we're going to try and do is lower ourselves, come back up, use a little momentum, just trying to work the hamstrings a little bit. And we're going to push off too to make it kind of easy. We're not trying to really work them, just kind of get some blood in there. So it's going to look like this. You put the ball out about chest distance. You don't want it too low or too high. You'll smack your face in it. Not fun. So it's just going to look like this. So now we're just warming up, nice and easy. Some little claps or something if you want to be fancy. So we're just kind of getting some blood in there. I'd say do like maybe 2 sets of this to get the feel for the movement, just get some, get those hamstrings ready for what's to come. So now let's talk about the progression of the exercise. You're not going to want to start like this. There's a couple different ways you can do it. Most people seem to grow and to learn the movement most effectively by increasing the height of the movement. So the way you do that, increasing the height of the ball. So what we do here is just stack a bunch of these little platforms. These are little step platforms you see in the aerobics rooms. We're going to stack a couple of them. I mean, you could go 4 or 5 if you want to. I mean, the ball is going to be up here, but to kind of start that movement, it's fine. So here's 2. So see how much you raise the ball? That's giving us a shorter range of motion, but it's still going to benefit you quite a bit. So you're basically going to have a higher ball. The next thing you want to probably do is start off with a push-off. Come down as slow as you can and push off on your way back up. So those would look like this. Actually, I'll even show you some more. Give me 1 second. Now, if I was prepared, I would have had those. So it's going to look like this. This is for somebody learning the movement, okay? You start off like this. Come down as slow as you can and just push off, okay? It's a lot easier. Now, from there, you could try, for instance, not pushing off, but maybe coming down a little bit and still getting a little bit of bounce from your chest. Okay? That's actually a little too close to me because I raised it. Should be a little further out. From there, now we can do the same exact thing except lower the ball. So maybe you go to 3, or you go to 2, and do the same thing. So now, as it's a little further range of motion, push off, a little bit less of a push off as you get stronger. Then we again progress, bouncing our chest off of it until we get to the final way to do the exercise, which is the way we're eventually shooting for, which is with 1 ball. You can also do this with a bench. Just put a flat bench here. Touch and come back up. I like the ball. Gives you a little bit more help when you get really tired. You can get a little bit of bounce without cheating too much and still hit the hamstrings. the way the exercise works is we want to keep a straight line as much as possible. You're probably not going to get a straight line, but you want to do your best between your knee and your shoulder, okay? You don't want to be like this, okay? It's really robbing you of a lot of movement. So what the final exercise is going to look like, once you're warm, once you've gotten the hang of it, and once you're ready to really hit those hamstrings, is a straight line, come down in a controlled fashion, and come back up. That's it, okay? You can pause on the ball if you want, or you can bounce as you're getting more tired. I've never gotten more than 5 or 7 of these things strictly before, so it's not the easiest thing in the world. So it's gonna look like this. Okay, straight line, as much as possible. You probably notice a little bit of bend in there. I'm a little tired, but we'll see how it works. Coming down, come back up. If you want to pause, it's gonna look like this. Pause, and come back up. Okay? So we do a few of these. Another thing you can do, as you get tired, you're gonna start to bend. Keep your hands behind your legs, keep your hands crossed. The further they get out in front of you, the more difficult it is. I've never had to use a weight, like a 10 or something over my head. You could do that if you're a freak. I'm not a freak. So that's the way you do this exercise. We'll do one more time. Straight line, touch, come back up. And that's it. The ham body curl. There's a couple different ways to do this, and I'll show you that next. So here's another place you can do that exercise. This is a little bit different variation. It's a little bit more challenging, but if you really want the extra work, you can do it. I don't do these very often because I find it's a little bit harder on my knees. It's a little harder to anchor myself in here, but you can feel free to do this. These are great because what they do is provide a variable strength curve by adjusting the height of the bench. So if you start down here low, the hardest part of the movement is when you're close to parallel, and I'd say from kind of here to here, and then as you get closer to perpendicular to the ground, it's easiest. When you raise it on an incline, now you have a little bit further down to go, but also you're still working really hard at the top of the movement. This is another great way to do that exercise. So if you happen to have a calf machine, a seated calf machine in your gym that doesn't have the wide pad where it's wide enough for you to kneel on, you might have something like this. You're not going to be able to use a seated calf machine, so we have to find an alternative. In that case, what you'd probably find most useful would be like a lat pull-down machine. And if you go over here, in this gym in particular, it's not going to be useful for us because the pads on these are narrow, so you're not going to be able to kneel on this. But a lot of gyms have the wider pads. So all you would do is, instead of using a seated calf machine, you could do this on a lat machine. Okay, so you gotta be a little bit creative sometimes to do this exercise, but you can look around and find out how you can make this work in your gym. So I hope you guys have learned something from this video. I really think if you incorporate this movement into your hamstring training protocol, you'll see incredible increases in the density and the depth and thickness of your hamstrings. Of course, feel free to leave comments below, email me with any questions, and go to jasonwojo.com for more information. See you next time.